With the World Championships being over, we can look back at every single tournament played this year and work out which is the best shot of the entire season.
It's there.
And we're going to be doing that by recreating all of the shots as accurately as possible before playing them in the fewest possible attempts. But who better to start with than Judd Trump, who's played so many shots on this list. Here he manages to pot a long blue and spin the cue ball around 2 cushions to remove the pink from the cushion. This was just an exhibition shot, but he played it incredibly well. Even the pot itself is difficult, and I was quite happy to get it on my first attempt, but unfortunately the black just got slightly in the way. This could be a genuine contender, so I'm delighted to get it so quickly, even if I did hit it a bit hard. Well, as that's gone better than expected, I think I'm ready to try another challenging shot, this time from Mark Allen at the Snooker World Masters of the World, Snooker Masters. Either way, he pots the red off the black here to secure the frame. Not only that, screws the cue ball safe back into bulk. I'm going to have to be really accurate with this one to hit a thin slither of the black. And that's what makes this shot so difficult. If the red was even slightly closer to the centre of the table, I'd be able to hit it into the black thicker, making the shot a lot easier. Here I'm having to hit it thin, and that's made it a little bit tough, but I've got it in the end though. In the Championship League, which I'm pretty confident counts as this season rather than last season, Cao Yupeng screws in this tough long blue down the cushion and gets the white back behind the black and out for the pink in the middle pocket. He was doing so while tying a game 2-all with Judd Trump. So once again the frame was already over, but don't count this one out, because as I'm discovering, it needs insanely good cueing. Not only do you have to pot this down the rail, which is an incredibly tough shot, you've got to play it at enough speed to get the cue ball all the way back to the top cushion and back another couple of foot. But I don't have time to worry about that at the moment because I'm still trying to just pot the blue at this speed. Honestly, I think this one could be a contender if I ever manage to pot it. I know I'm moving around a little bit too much, but I can't do anything to help it. I'm just hoping when I finally pot the blue like that, I go the right side of the black. It hasn't quite happened, but I have to stop now because I don't think I'm ever going to pot it again. This next shot has Ronnie O'Sullivan potting a nice long green with left hand side to spin the cue ball round the cushions and bring a red away from the cushion. This needs a really precise shot to get in behind the red. I can remember from when I played this shot at the time that it's incredibly easy to put too much side spin on the cue ball, so here I'm trying to cut it back a bit, and I seem to be just overdoing it, as I'm not quite hitting the red on the right side. I only need a fraction more left hand side to get in behind the red, but I can't just seem to add a tiny bit more. I've put a little bit more on it on this one, but it's a little bit too much. I can't make that small adjustment. So I'm getting close, but it's not quite happening for a second. And now I'm struggling to pot the green, which is unsurprising because it's actually quite a difficult pot, and I thought I was doing quite well to start off with, getting it so many times in a row. I finally got the shot, not to the right pocket, but I got in behind it, so that's pretty much good enough. It was at the International Championships where Gong picked out this incredibly tough red down the cushion. This is probably one of the most difficult pots I've had to play all year, and I'm not too sure how confident I'm going to be at getting it again. Similar to the Cao Yupeng shot, I just need to hit it in the right direction and hope for the best. Again, this definitely could be a contender. I'm just shocked it's gone in so quickly. More luck than judgment, I think. Next, Gary Wilson is getting off to a great start in his match against Ronnie O'Sullivan by potting this pink and then flicking the black he needs down the cushion into an unmissable position over the corner pocket. Gary obviously wins this frame but eventually goes on to lose the match. This one definitely deserves our attention because of the crucial time it took place in the first frame. And as you can see from my first few attempts, it's not as easy as Gary made it look. I'm getting really close to the black here, but I just can't make the cannon. I've finally got it and I've knocked it into a potable position. Digging down at the cue ball now is Barry Hawkins, who has this massive swerve to try and get round the brown and hit the red that's over the corner pocket. He was more forced into this shot than anything else, but he plays it excellently, even if he doesn't finish in position on a colour. Compared with my table, it's a lot harder to swerve the cue ball like this on an ultra-fine match cloth. Here you can see I'm easily able to over-swerve it, which wouldn't be true on a professional table. And considering that, I would have thought I would have got this one already. Probably took me a little bit too long. Dylan Emery's picking up the pieces now after an unfortunate foul gives him this opportunity to pot the green and bring the brown away from the cushion. You've got to hit the brown perfectly on this shot to knock it towards the corner pocket, but he couldn't have played it any better. But it's also a really good pot, and from this distance I'm just finding it a little bit missable, and that's why I can't quite get the green in the pocket. And even when I do there, I've nudged the brown away from the cushion rather than along it. It's actually not guaranteed that you're going to push the brown anywhere near the pocket if you get the cannon. So it needs to be really precisely played, and you've actually got to play it with a lot less backspin than you'd think. I've got it in the end and I'm pretty happy with it. Stuart Bingham with another great shot from the Championship League now, after being nearly snookered on every single ball on the table. He can just about see enough of this red to pot it, and he manages not only to get the cue ball back safe, but knock it clean down the rail into the corner. Because the red's close to the cushion, I'm using right hand side as well as backspin to get it back down the table, which meant the pot could have taken forever to go in. But again, I think I've got fairly lucky and it's in already, although I haven't quite come back far enough. Ding's only chance of winning the frame is if he can pot this red and somehow get the cue ball down onto the black. Using a lot of topspin he manages to do it. He can't get back onto the yellow but does eventually go on to win the match. This is one of the ones that isn't so easy on my table, although there's no way I should have gone in off. And I'm not sure how the red jumped out the pocket there, but I'm starting to get the right idea on how to play this. And I finally got it right and spun down for the black. Didn't get the cue ball to arc as much as I wanted though. Ronnie O'Sullivan must have thought he had the black completely safe here, but Luca Brecel had other ideas, doubling it into the yellow pocket, which looks completely impossible because there doesn't seem to be the angle there to avoid the double kiss. And after my first few attempts, I'm actually convinced the angle isn't there because I keep double kissing or playing the black so wide that it hasn't got any chance of going anywhere near the pocket. However, on my fourth attempt, I finally played it the other side, which I didn't think was even going to be possible. So I now know the angle is on if I play it correctly, but I do really need to get into the cue ball well. Thankfully, I've done that and we can move on. Award time now, and with 40% of the vote, you chose this shot from John Higgins as the shot of the World Championships, as it was so significant in the way it allowed him to clear up and win the match. And I'll be presenting John with this award personally whenever I actually leave the shed. Oh, what was that? Although this shot was really significant, in theory it shouldn't be too difficult to play, so I'm a little bit disappointed that I missed my first attempt, although I seem to get it on my second. So which of these was the cheekiest double? In terms of cheeky doubles, both of these shots are about as good as they come, so both receive 5. However, I'm saying John Higgins is this season's winner because his won him the match and Luca's didn't. It's time now to mirror flip the screen. Okay, let's never do that again, but this next Judd trump shot can't be played right-handed, as he pots the yellow, spins the cue ball perfectly around 2 cushions to flick the red over the middle pocket. This was described early on as one of the best shots of the season, so having had a little bit of practice, let's see if I can get it right a little bit quicker this time. This is definitely an incredibly tough shot to judge, but because I've been able to see the overhead shot of it this time, I think I've got the balls in a slightly more accurate position that's allowed me to see the right angle a little bit better. I just slightly underhit that one, but I was on the perfect line, so if I can repeat that just a tiny bit harder, I'll be okay, and I think I've got away with it with this one and knocked it nicely over the pocket. Stephen Maguire's in a lot of trouble now, 5-2 behind and he can't see the simple red across the table, so he takes on this long pot, which is a bit of a do or die shot. He gets it and ends up winning the frame, although as he's so far behind in frames already, ends up losing the match. By the looks of it, it was frustration more than anything else, and he looked like he'd had enough with it by this point, but it did allow him to go on and win the frame. So let's see if I can get anywhere near it, and I have, although I haven't really cued it anywhere near well enough. How about this for a cut from Tom Ford now? Yeah, the props are a bit much, aren't they? Let's go. Right, Tom Ford manages to cut this red in. He's already won the frame, but it does help him go on to make a century break at the Tour Championships. He ends up losing this match 10-9, but to the eventual winner, Mark Williams. This was a great match, and it shows just how well Tom was competing. I don't think I had the balls in the right place the first time. The red was a little bit close. I got it right after that, but I'm really happy to get it just after 3 attempts. Mark Selby's tight in behind the blue at the Welsh Open and a long way behind in the frame. He needs a decent escape from this one, otherwise he's going to lose it, but he manages to rest up tight to the red after playing the escape off 5 cushions. Once again with a snooker escape, I can just try to hit the same point on the cushion that Mark did and see what happens. As it turned out, I went a little bit wide and hit it a bit too hard. So let's see if I can make the correction with this shot, and it seems like I have, leaving absolutely nothing on. Another Judd trump shot that I'm going to have to mirror flip now, as Judd manages to pot this yellow, screw the cue ball along the baulk cushion, and put so much side spin on the ball he opens the reds up. I'm not even sure I'm going to be able to play this right-handed, so I would have absolutely no chance left-handed. This is yet another unbelievably difficult shot. I'm trying to get as close to the brown as I possibly can, but even doing that, I can't get enough side spin on the cue ball to open the reds. The thing I need to do is put more side spin on the cue ball, and I've just about done it here. I've put as much as I possibly can and got into the reds and finished in position. Next up, Michael White's getting a bit of a hammering. Alright, the props definitely didn't work, did they? Okay, never mind. Either way, Judd trumps 5-0 in front and played a really good safety shot here, not leaving Michael any real shot to go at, but he still manages to scream the red down the cushion. Despite this, he still loses the frame and ends up losing the match 6-0, so in the grand scheme of things, this doesn't really matter. Which is a shame because I've somehow managed to nail it first time. As it turns out, Juhui's actually got quite a lot of cue power on him, and despite this red being as far down as the pink spot, he manages to screw the cue ball all the way back into bulk. I'm really going to have to strike this well if I'm going to get it anywhere near that far. And after my first few attempts, that really isn't going very well, as I can't seem to get anywhere near the pocket here. In theory, this is a lot more straightforward than my last shot, but I keep getting it wrong. I've potted the red there, but unfortunately I've screwed back into the blue, so I've got to try again because that's not getting it anywhere near right. But that does mean potting it again, and for some reason my cue actions deserted me here. I finally got it and missed the blue, but also the cannon on the yellow, though thankfully I avoided the in-off at the same time. Mark Williams has landed right up against a red whilst making a comeback against Ronnie O'Sullivan. Despite this, he still manages to pot the red into the middle pocket and get the resulting black, winning in the frame and eventually going on to take the Tour Championships final. I'm pretty good at this type of shot, but I'm still happy to get it first time. Before the next Mark Selby shot, we just got to find Santiago Benavides, who's from Eagle Pass in Texas, which is there. It's crazy to think what Mark Selby actually did here, as Ronnie O'Sullivan was on a 16-match winning streak before running into Mark, who pots this long red, cannons the black into a pottable position, and goes on to take a 3-0 lead, which would eventually turn into a 6-0 whitewash. The match had a very unusual backdrop to it, as Mark Selby seemed to be struggling at this point in the season, and Ronnie looked nigh on unbeatable. Despite this though, it went completely the opposite way to which everybody thought, and this shot was a big part of it. And just to prove how difficult it is, I can't get anywhere near it. And also, I can't get anywhere near it. It's getting annoying because it's a fairly straightforward shot to pot the red, and I'm glad I finally got it and just about got the cannon for the black. This shot from Judd at the Northern Ireland Open was similar to one he played before at the World Championships a few years ago. Either way, I'm going to have to be super accurate in potting this ball, as I've got to play it almost full power to screw the cue ball back into bulk. This one looks like another genuine contender, and pretty similar to a number of shots I've played already today, down the cushion and screwing the cue ball back. I'm only getting it though by potting it off another red, and unlike a few shots I've played already, it hasn't gone in quickly. With these types of shot, you do need a lot of luck because you simply can't be accurate enough to pot it even if you line it up absolutely perfectly. You'll probably get it 1 in 3 if you do, but I don't think I'm getting enough of them close enough to the pocket to be fortunate enough. If I was getting closer, I think I'd have more of a chance. And I'm glad I've left this one to the end, as it's one of the hardest shots, and I simply can't get it right. If I was doing this to start off with, it would completely have sapped any morale I had, and would probably have meant it was a lot harder to get any of the later shots. And I've gone and miscued. So I can't get anywhere near it, and every now and again I'm miscuing, and thankfully it's finally gone in. I didn't think I was ever going to get that. Once again this week I'm allowing you to vote for the winner. Just follow the link down in the description and look out for me announcing the winner next week at some point. But in the meantime, if you want to find the best shots from the World Championships, then have a look at these videos. And remember, don't just watch, play, and make the commitment to becoming a better player by subscribing to the channel and visit the website. See you later!